And we are live in the heartland and from the heartland of America and from my heart to yours. I'm Jeffey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Thanks for being here. And we always want to remind you first and foremost that you don't have original sin. You've got the spark of divinity within, and you don't have to go to anybody's savior on bended knee because you are divine, you're sovereign, and you're free. That's our great message, and we'll be bringing it to you as long as we have breath within our bodies. And today, very, very good information. Rome, the rat bastard, and the LEMS. How does that work exactly? Deep, deep stuff. Friday, we're going to have Halo Marquise with us. He thinks he's cracked the energetic signature of 5G and the DOSOM WIST. It'll be very, very interesting to hear that. Greetings to you in Jamaica. So let's go ahead and get into this today. And I want you to know that Halo is a great guy and the Mystech is a great product. That's why I wear so much of it. It does keep me at the Schumann resonance of the earth, the ideal Schumann resonance of the earth. We have videos here that prove the tremendous things it does for your blood, frees it from pathogens, keeps it flowing very smoothly and powerfully and energetically. We have videos that prove what it does to your Carillion body, your subtle body, and we have videos that prove that it mitigates EMF. So go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the Mystech logo. You get a full 20% off when you purchase through us. And if you don't, you don't. So I encourage you to do so. But let's go ahead and jump right in, because I am sunburnt, Dawn. And let's not ask silly questions. Let's just watch the show. How about that? And here we go. I don't call it sunburnt. I call it beautifully tanned from the sun. Rome, the rat bastard, and the LEMS. If you hear a word you don't understand, look in the box below. We have a word guide down there for you. Sun-kissed. Exactly, Tracy. That's the way I like it. All right, so let's talk about this. This, of course, is the destruction of Jerusalem and the LEMISH people being herded by the Romans. So let's talk about this, folks. What do we know? We know that 70 AD changed everything. That's when Rome destroyed Jerusalem. And Rome also destroyed Judaism. You have to remember that. Judaism, as it had been known for 6, 7, 10, however many thousand years it was known no more after 70 AD. Because at 70 AD, all of the LEMISH records were destroyed. There were no extant or still existing copies of what you would call the Old Testament, what I call the LEMISH Testament. They were gone. They were destroyed with Jerusalem. So that means that what we know as the LEMISH religion today is all recreated since AD 70. And you have to know that it was recreated under the leadership guidance and editorial practices of the Roman government. For the people that rewrote the LEMISH scriptures did so on paper, with ink, on tables, in locations, and then went home to homes and paid for things with money provided by the Romans. It's history. You don't have to agree with it. Now, do you think that the person that's giving you room and board and a salary is going to have some influence on what you write and how you write it? And as I did this study today, I see there's very strong evidence that because the LEMISH Testament, what you call the Old Testament, was being written concurrently with the Roman Testament, which you call the New Testament, you can see why there's so much overlap between the two. And from my studious observation, and remember, I'm celebrating next month 40 years of unindoctrination. For 20 years, I was a Protestant minister, full-time. I have a Bible college degree. I have over 100,000 hours of study in the biblical scriptures. Find someone else on YouTube that has that and listen to them if you don't believe me. Oh, you can't? Yeah, I didn't think you could either. So the point is that it looks like some of the people that were writing the LEMISH Testament also wrote portions of the Roman Testament, and maybe vice versa, because they're really, really mixed up together. And of course, this is what they're supposed to be. But anyway, AD 70, Rome destroyed Jerusalem. Rome destroyed Judaism. And if there was something as Messianic Judaism, they destroyed that too. Doesn't matter if there were or there weren't, they destroyed it. And Rome conquered the rat bastard. Material Classified says I've also written 15 books. I have, thank you. Rome conquered the rat bastard. Think of that for a minute. Rome debased him, took all of his stuff out of his temple, took the Ark of the Covenant, took it back to Rome, made a spectacle of him, and then they assimilated him, Borg style. And we'll talk more about that in the next slide. So my question is, and my ponderings have been, since Rome defeated the rat bastard, Rome assimilated the rat bastard, how does this hierarchy function going forward? What is the rat bastard's role? What does he do? How did Rome beat a god? It's all very, very interesting. And I don't know if we'll answer all of those questions today. Thank you, Truth Seeker. I don't know if we'll answer all of those questions today, but we'll certainly give you some things to think about. And that is very, very worthy. So, you know, from the guy that is listed in your Roman Testament, you call it the New Testament, King Herod. Well, let me give you some startling information. It'll be startling to you, most of you. Some of you cousins probably know it. But Herod Antipater, who was nicknamed Antipas, he was the first century ruler over Galilee and Perea. He was referred to as both Herod the Tetrarch and King Herod in the New Testament. Although, hear this, he never held the title of king. The King Herod that is in your HERU stories, the King Herod that is in your John the Baptist stories, never was king. He was a tetrarch. He might have called himself king. I can call myself president, but that doesn't make me president. He never was king. Did you know that Herod was never king? Never, ever. There was no King Herod. At least that guy wasn't king. There was a King Herod before him, but he was not king. The guy you read about in your Roman Testament was never king. That's fascinating for some of you, I know. Get ready. We got a lot more where that came from. And since 70 AD, let me say this together. Herod was not king. And since 70 AD, the rat bastard has no more been God than Herod was king. Think of that. Oh, but he's the God of the Bible. Really? He might call himself that. But since 70 AD, since the thing that you read was written, whether you're reading Old or New, LEMISH or Roman, he's been deposed, he's been debased, and he's been assimilated since then, since before it was written. And you have to understand that Rome assimilated their conquered gods, which means they'd go into an area that had a people that was worshiping a certain god. And they would kill all those people, take over the place. But Rome is very practical. A lot of times religious buildings are nice. They're functional. A lot of times they are built on sacred sites or on ley lines where there are energy. Some say portals. So Rome would try it when at all possible not to destroy the sacred structures, or frankly, any of the structures, because they figured, why should we tear this stuff down when we can use it ourselves? So they would leave most of the buildings, if they could, standing. And in the case of holy buildings, let's say they worshipped the goddess Tracy. They worshiped the goddess Tracy in this one particular place, and Rome took it over. And the great temple of Tracy, which was a magnificent temple, I'm sure, the great temple of Tracy would not be the great temple of Tracy anymore. It would now be the great temple of Diana, or another Roman goddess. They just assimilated them. You used to worship Tracy. Well, now you worship Diana, but you can do all the same stuff you did for Tracy, but you just do it towards Diana. Deal, good, okay. So Rome assimilated all their conquered gods. And Rome also assimilated the rat bastard, the god of the Bible. And I'm fixing to prove it to you. So before you get your panties in a wad, wait and see. The rat bastard became Jupiter. That's right, Jupiter. And do you know what the name Jupiter means? It comes from Dios and Pater. There's that word again, Pater, Praetor, which means sky father. You can't make this stuff up. Even the name's right. All they did was take the rat bastard and turn him into Jupiter. And it was a perfect fit because Jupiter had been Rome's chief deity throughout the imperial era, right up to the rise of Christianity, Exianity. And it's clear what they did. The rat bastard took the sky father role, just like Herod took the king role, even though Herod wasn't king and rat bastard wasn't God. Rat bastard was no more God than Herod was king. This is history, folks. These are facts, and facts don't care about your feels. It's all pretend. It's all part of Rome's deal to and with the rat bastard. And just in case you don't buy it yet, I want you to take a look at what Jupiter looked like. Oh, look, there's Jupiter. Big beard, long hair, a two-pack. We'll give him credit for a two-pack. Flowing robes. Very fearsome looking. Got a great big stick. Does he remind you of anybody? Is that like, that's the rat bastard. That's the God of the Bible. And notice the entity on his right hand. Doesn't matter who it is right now, but there's a divine entity on his right hand. There's a divine entity at his right hand. How easy was it to slip plastic HERU into that place? And oh, look, there's even a bird. And it's a short trip from the eagle to the HS dove. You know what I'm talking about by HS. Look at that, ready-made. Here's Mon, the MANOFS. Here's Mon, the sun. And here's the HS right here. This one's an eagle, but it turned into a dove. Very, very, very easy. Very, very simple. Very, very powerful to do. And guess what? It worked really good with the Temple of Tracy, and it worked really, really good with the temples to Rat Bastard as well, because there's arguably 4 billion X-gens today of different stripes and fashions, and they all are still worshiping this guy. They think they're worshiping the Rat Bastard. They're not. They're worshiping Jupiter. They're worshiping Jupiter. And it's just a very smooth and beautiful transition. But here's my question. Rome already had a god. They had Jupiter. And the other name for Jupiter was Zeus. And if you look at Zeus, I always wondered Zeus and what they call HERU, plastic HERU. Zeus, come on, man. Don't tell me that's just a coincidence. It's not. And remember, I told you about the devotio, actually. They always offered the devotio in effort to sway the gods of other nations to defect to Rome. Could that really happen? Could that really happen, folks? I didn't read this, I wrote it. Could this really happen? Could you really cause a nation's gods to defect to your cause? Hey, Zeus. I like it. Could it really happen? But Rome defeated Jerusalem and utterly debased their God. Was it Rome that beat Jerusalem, or was it Jupiter that beat Jerusalem? Do gods really fight battles and empower armies? Or do men just think they do? And because they think they do, they draw strength and courage from the idea. All we really know is that a nation of men defeated, debased, and assimilated the rat bastard, the God of the Bible. That's all we know for sure. And the rat bastard was just the latest God in a long line of gods that they had conquered and debased and assimilated. And literally, welcome to the new God, same as the old God. I know some of this is hard to wrap your mind around. I know some of this is difficult for you to get inside your thinker, but if you were using the C60 Purple Power from c60purplepower.com, use the code TCW10, it would be, and it is, the fountain of youth in a bottle, but it helps your cognitive functions. It helps your intellectual functions. It helps your emotional functions. It helps your spirituality. Whatever you do, whatever gifts you have, they're made better and more effective by C60 Purple Power, and it gives you enhanced physical optimization. Cliff High says he and his wife are alive because of it. I say it's changed my life. Go to c60purplepower.com and use the code TCW10. So welcome to the new God. Same as the old God. So at best, Exgens, you're worshiping Jupiter. How's that make you feel? But let me ask this. Was and is Jupiter an actual entity? Was or is the rat bastard an actual entity? Greetings to you in Ireland. When a nation conquers another nation, does it also conquer its gods? Are nations' gods little more than the manifest expression of their national will? Are a nation's gods merely tulpe created by the people themselves? And does the nation with the strongest gods rule, or does the nation with the strongest will rule? Does the nation with the strongest gods remain free, or does the nation with the strongest will remain free as they choose? So the question that springs to my mind is, are we gods? And is this what we're here to learn? And is there anything between true divinity? I was talking with Hale on the phone today. Is there anything between true divinity, source, creator, whatever you call them, in my opinion? Is there anything between them and us that's helpful? And is this what the people that run this matrix and run this cabal, is this what they're afraid that we'll discover? These really are deep, deep, deep questions. Let's look at some of the implications. Do the LEMISH people still have their beloved rat bastard? And if they did, what good is a defeated God? What if what the LEMISH really have is their national will? Think about this a minute. The LEMS are around 0.2% of the world population. Can you imagine the percentage of the world wealth that is held by the LEMISH people? The LEMS are somewhere around 2% of United States population. How much of the wealth of the United States do they control? We talked yesterday about controlling the media, controlling the money, controlling the leadership. Why are the LEMISH people so disproportionately powerful? Can it be because of their defeated God? Or is it their strength of national will combined with thousands of years of shrewd investing and retention of wealth? But that's not our purpose here today. Tracy says because they've duped us. Tracy, have they duped us? Or have we allowed ourselves to be duped? Are we divine? Are we sovereign? Are we free? We always like to say we're divine and we're sovereign and we're free when we're doing good stuff. But when you get duped and when you get shanghaied and when you get lemmed, you're still divine, sovereign, and free. Just sometimes we're divine, sovereign, free, and stupid. Greetings to you in Deutschland. And, you know, I don't know why I'm going to say this, but a lot of times Germans, and especially Germans from the Second World War era, take a lot of guff for this song, Deutschland über alles. And they would sing Deutschland über alles, Deutschland over everything else. And it's sold to us as it means Germany over every place else in the world. No, that's not what it meant. What it meant was in Germany, there was a bunch of different kingdoms. And the Deutschland über alles was a song of, let's all get together and stop fighting amongst ourselves and be a united country. So America über alles might not be a bad song for us to sing right about now, but I don't want to get down that rabbit hole because that's not what I'm here to talk about today. And yet we can talk about, there's nothing spectacular, there's nothing supernatural, there's no gods. And yet it's not illegal to sing it here. Let me read you a couple of scripts, and we're sure they're scripts, and they come from the LEMISH Testament, and it says, behold, he shall come as clouds, and as chariots shall be like the whirlwind. Jeremiah 4:13. For behold, the rat bastard will come with fire, and his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. But remember, he loves you. Isaiah 66:15. So Josephus, who probably wrote most of the Roman Testament that you call the New Testament, but Josephus wrote a book called Histories. And this is a quote. It says, a certain prodigious, that means, wow, a certain prodigious and incredible phenomenon appeared. We're talking about the destruction of Jerusalem, AD 70. I suppose the account of it would seem to be a fable if it were not related by those that saw it. And I'm going to show you Roman sources that say it. I'm going to show you LEMISH sources that say it. And I'm going to show you cross-clinging sources that say it. And if you get three different sources from three different cultures, you can be relatively sure something happened, even if you can't nail down exactly what did happen. So, were it not related by those that saw it, and were not the events that followed it of so considerable a nature as to deserve such signals, i.e. the destruction of Jerusalem? For before the sun set, says Josephus, chariots and troops of soldiers in their armor were seen running about in the clouds surrounding the city of Jerusalem. Before sunset, chariots were seen in the air over the whole country, and armed battalions speeding through the clouds and encircling the cities. Literally saw with the eyes. Literally saw with the eyes. That's Josephus. Tacitus, who's a Roman historian, said the sky appeared a vision of armies in conflict, of glittering armor. A sudden flash from the clouds lit up the temple. Obviously, this was before it was destroyed. And then the door, not of the holy place. He was a Roman. He didn't know that the holy place didn't have a door. It had a curtain. But the doors of the temple itself, I believe it was the east gate, all of a sudden opened up. And these are doors that 20 men couldn't open. And then a superhuman voice was heard declaring that the gods, and that's interesting, the gods were leaving the temple. And at the same instant came the rising tumult of their departure. So they actually heard supernatural entities saying they were leaving the temple and felt the rush of those entities leaving the temple. A Roman wrote that, the historian Tacitus. Eusebius of Caesarea said in 325 AD, for before the setting of the sun, chariots and armed troops were seen throughout the whole region in midair, wheeling through the clouds and encircling the city. Wow, you see the reference there. Josephus again, it was the eastern gate of the inner court. It was brass, very massive, and when closed towards evening, it could scarcely be moved by 20 bros. Iron-bound bars on each side, bolts sunk to a great depth and a threshold consisting of a solid block of stone, hole, drop it in, goes through the door, can't move it. Like a hockey net, if you've ever played hockey. The watchman of the temple ran and reported the matter to the captain, and he came up with difficulty, and they shut it. But the damn thing just opened. Wow. And Titus, the guy that destroyed Jerusalem, refused to accept a wreath of victory. Can you imagine a general that won't receive a wreath of victory, won't accept a wreath of victory? Stating that the victory did not come through his own efforts, but that he merely served as an instrument of divine wrath. That comes from Philostratus, the life of Apollonius of Tyana. Amazing stuff. Interesting stuff. Powerful stuff. So, the Romans, the LEMISH, the cross-clingers, they all agree that these signs occurred. What does that mean? Again, we can't really narrow things down necessarily, but when three different cultures report roughly the same type of occurrences, we can at least be fairly certain that something happened and it was something weird, something strange, something supernatural, if we can say so. What does it mean? So we have some questions. We have some possibilities. Was it divine actions? Are there really things called gods between us and the ultimate divinity? And do they interject themselves into the activities of us? Or are there just tulpae? What is tulpae? Well, tulpae is the plural of tulpa. What's a tulpa? A tulpa is a thought form. And a thought form is an entity that is manifest by the focusing of collective intention. How much collective intention do you think has been focused over the years to Jupiter or Zeus? How much collective intention has been focused over the years to the rat bastard? How much collective intention has been focused over the year to the gods that you know of? Where's all that thought go? Where's all that intention go? We know that tulpae are real. Or was it other beings leveraging us? Or was it a combination? It makes me think of the ubiquitous UFO mythology. And it makes me wonder why somebody really wants us to think there's Klingons. Think about it. UFOs, aliens, spacemen, outer space. It's the most dominant cultural narrative of the 20th and 21st centuries. It's the most dominant cultural narrative of the 20th and 21st centuries. Divinity, tulpae, UFO, alien, people trying to make us think they're aliens. What is all this shit? What is all this shit? Is it gods? Is it tulpae? Is it aliens? Is it the cabal trying to make us think they're aliens? Is it the cabal trying to make us think we're tulpae? Is it the cabal trying to make us think we're gods? What about the collective intention on the scriptures? What about it? You focus on a story, believe the story, a tulpae of the story manifests. That's what I'm talking about. Good question. Or is it someone else from someplace else that we haven't found yet that's doing these things? Are these manifestations coming from civilizations that live beneath the ocean? 70% of the earth is covered by it, and we've only explored about 5% of it. Are these things manifested by civilizations that are under the ground? Less than 5% of it have we researched. Are these things manifested by civilizations that live in lands like Admiral Byrd saw beyond Antarctica, that seem to be in the center of the earth with warm water? The Germans themselves were swimming in warm water in Antarctica, skinny dipping. Is it people from other times? Part of me says, who cares? F them all. We got this, like Lorenzo says. But part of me makes me wonder why. It really does. It really does. If you backed me into a corner right now and made me guess after next month celebrating 40 years of unindoctrination, I would say there aren't any gods. There's a divinity. There's an ultimate source creator. These things, nah. What we're dealing with are these things, tulpae. And these guys, the cabal, want us to believe in these guys, aliens, but they're really just this, someone else from someplace else we haven't found yet. That's the way I see it. Are there any of these that are good, that are helpful? No. I say nay. Some of you will disagree with me. There might be some that if you're really, really smart and really, really good and really, really advanced, which, let's be honest, not most of us are, that you can glean some information from if you're careful, yeah. But should most of you ever have anything to do with one of these? No. These are spirit guides. Don't have anything to do with spirit guides. These are ascended masters. Don't have anything to do with ascended masters. These are angels. Don't have anything to do with angels. But Jeff, this is 40 years of experience. Take it or leave it. But don't come to me when you're in trouble with ascended masters, spirit guides, or angels, because I'm not going to help you because I told you to stay away from them. Are there possibly, potentially, some of them that could maybe be helpful? Possibly, but you're not smart enough to figure it out. You're just not. Stay away from them. Don't take candy from strangers. Who's leveraging us to give away our power? That's the big question. Who's leveraging us to give away our power? Who's leveraging us to give away our power? Somebody that's in power that doesn't want us to find our own power. It is the cabal. We just have to find out who they are. We just have to find out who they are. Somebody says, why are you mad at the gods, though? Bro, I'm not mad at the gods. You can't be mad at something that ain't real. I'm divine. I'm sovereign. I'm free. I don't need a God to keep me straight or get me to where I want to be. I can do it myself. And part of the reason that I can do it myself is because not only because I use the Mystech and the C60, but I'm also constantly living in a focused life force energy, high consciousness on demand environment. And now even my pets, because they've got Life Force Energy 2.0 for pets, now included at no extra charge. Go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the fluffy logo. You can get up to 30 days free, 15 on the phone, 15 on the home, or you can just spend the $35, get her done. It's well worth it. Maybe you're not high consciousness yet, but at least you can live in a high consciousness environment. And can all of us benefit from being in an elevated consciousness environment? I think so. Let's go to the chat room. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children and cousins of all ages. Tracy thinks the gods are the same motley crew across cultures. I am almost beginning to believe that we manifest them as Tulpe and they're not real. That's where I'm at, and I think that Tracy's probably real close to the same place. Harry says gods are a concept in nature. Absolutely, because they got jealousy, anger. Some of them do lie. Good point. I like that. Again, nice to see you in Ireland. It's astrotheology at the core. Very much of it is. There's no doubt about that. Are all these aliens, as the rat bastards, meant to confuse? Well, he's not. I almost don't think he's real. But why would you get confused? It doesn't really matter, especially if he's not real. And we go on. Anthropomorphizing the planets, possibly. Jameis stopped worshiping a long time ago. I appreciate you appreciating that. It makes so much sense. We're the gods created by the cabal to hide the fact that we're actually the gods. So she's saying we're the gods created by the cabal to hide the fact that we're the gods. I say yes, 100%. I don't know, Zozo. I don't know if they're real. Rome captures the intention of people and overwhelms it and then consumes it and eats it themselves. If there is an us and if there is a them, I'm not sure there is. These are deep but vital questions. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. The Oz, the guy behind the curtain is just a guy. The dude behind the curtain is just a dude. I have a feeling it's the same way. You are the gods, Jim says. I agree. Greetings from Gur. I'm not sure where Gur is, but I'm glad you're there. And I greet you. They've duped us. Absolutely, they have. They absolutely have duped us. There's no doubt about it. And we fell for their dupe. Yep, we bought it. We allowed ourselves to get duped. Absolutely. We absolutely did. Then they duped us with fluoride. That probably had something to do with it. If we say we bought the lie, then we're taking responsibility and being accountable, because we did and we should, and we really have to. Great stuff. Yes, Jeff, good point. Thank you, Francois. Truth seeker oxygen. Yes, indeed. Hard to avoid being duped when your parents or grandparents are also duped. Well, that makes it more difficult because they teach you wrong, but I don't know. You know me, I'm a hard ass. I think it's just an excuse, and we need to do what we need to do. Nice to see you, GeoHawk. We need to do what we need to do, no matter what excuses we give ourselves. Are we the Ubermensch? Yes. Ubermensch is a great word. A great, great word. UFOs, military secret tech. Yep, could be. Could be. Dark Roman draconian souls. What do you mean by draconian? Do you mean they're from Draco? I got to see some proof. We got enough bad mofos right here to be inventing ones from out there. I don't buy the out there stuff anymore. I'm sorry. I just don't. I just don't. Prove it to me and I'll get on board. But nobody's been able to prove it to me yet. So I'm not on board. Thank you. This is a great topic. Very, very interesting. They are diversions. They are scare tactics. Absolutely, folks. Absolutely. That's funny, Harry. Alien abduction stories, elf stories are very similar because they're the same. I agree with you. Aldebaran Samari. I agree with you. Interesting. Are they generated by the Matrix? There's an interesting point. Because the builders of the Matrix have will and intention too, don't they? They can manifest them. Ooh, great point, Tracy. I like it. There are no boogeymen, or at least not ones whose ass we can't kick. I'll agree with that 100%. Time travel could be from the future. Absolutely. If you can name it or define it, it's not the ultimate source. I agree with you 100%. Did the majestic serpents play a joke on us? Some of them are and have. I'm convinced. Yes. What else we got? I'm not sold on him. He's just another story from the Gnostics. It's just a story. And the Gnostics have been proven to be Talmudic imposters. I think we're here to exercise our creator-like power to manifest, and we don't leave until we do. It's pretty much that simple. Hey, what's up? What is up? Well, I got a problem with that, Deb, because this guy wasn't real, and the Bible was written by the Romans. So, yeah, but there is some truth hidden in it, and that could have been a chunk of truth hidden in it. Can I say that it's probably all made up with little pieces of error rather than little pieces of truth? What are archons? They're made up too. The Bible was written by the Romans before there was a papacy. Which God? I would agree with that if you said divinity, because we are divine, we are sovereign, we are free. And here's another story. The Anunnachis. Completely, totally made up. Just another storybook. And people that don't believe the AHAK storybook want to believe that storybook. And I can't figure out why. Because they want to believe. And once you start believing, you don't study anymore. You're not objective anymore. And every belief has a lie in the middle of it. In the exact middle of it, to be exact. And what's a podcast without a totally random, completely off context comment thrown in? This is a good comment. All the quote-unquote holy books are like grimoires used by governments to control sheeple. Boom! Really, really, really good stuff. He wasn't real. He didn't have any teachings. You can't prove that he's real outside of the B-BLE. And if you say to me the B-BLE proves he's true, that's called circular reasoning, and it's not reasoning at all. He wasn't real. He was invented by Rome, and I proved it umpteen times. You got to get your mind wrapped around the facts. You're still suffering from blood poisoning. I think there's only one source, and the rest are just pretending. I think you may very well be right. Now, this is absolutely true. We do have to start looking outside and start looking in. But how can you look to somebody to be your savior unless you're looking outside, Deb? Think about it. You're on the right track, but you got to get the trains going in the same direction. Yeah, you can't look outside yourself. Look within. But if you believe in a savior, you got to look outside yourself. Stop arguing with yourself. You're on the right track. And of course, the person with the totally random comment with another, just a dumb comment, so we won't even honor it by reading it. Won't even honor it by reading it. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. Deb, again, I'm helping you out. This is not a real word. It's a made-up word. It's a magical word. It's a trigger word. The real word is the anointing or the anointed. We are the anointed. There is no this. This does not exist. And when you say it, it pulls you into a spell that you can't get free from if you keep saying it. That's why we don't say it anymore. That's why we don't say it anymore. Just because we're raised in lies doesn't mean we have to continue to believe in them. Boom. That's some great stuff. That's some really great stuff. That's some really great stuff. Anunnakis. The Anunnakis. That's great stuff. The Anunnakis. I forget which word we picked for them, but they don't come up very much. We don't have to worry about them. We don't have to worry about them. The Anunnakis. Poor Jay's lost his mind. He's the best in the world at what he does, but he needs to stick to what he does. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. What else we got? Imaginary friends. Exactly. 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 And are we at the end of the chat already? I'm almost disappointed. No, not quite yet. Let's see what else we got here. What else we got here? The chat is fun today. I agree. The Anunnakis, or God from the skies, are the common thread in all stories. I'm inclined to believe there's some truth to it. Really? Really? So just because Mother Goose, the Brothers Grimm, and Disney tell the same stories, are you inclined to believe there's some truth in them too? Why do you want to believe superstitions? Why do you want to believe stories? What is missing in you that you got to look for something outside of you? And as long as you keep believing it, you'll keep coming back again. You're not going to be able to move to the next level till you realize you're divine, you're sovereign, you're free, and there's not anything else outside of you that's going to help you. You got to realize you got to play your game by your rules. And as long as you're trying to play somebody else's game, you're going to lose. And by lose, I mean come back again and play another round down here while the rest of us have moved on up like George and Wheezy. We're moving on up. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. All of us are duped if you're over 50. No way to verify the info taught to us. You're right, GeoHawk. You're right, GeoHawk. Who was the author of the Drain the Swamp book? You're not going to be able to find it. His name is Berman, I believe. And you know, if you had Googled that instead of asked me, you would find I've already found it. Jeff, why do you have to be an asshole? Well, sometimes the only way to help somebody is to be an asshole. Was my dad being an asshole when I said, Dad, how do you spell Anunnaki? He said, look it up. In the time that you Google, you asked that, you could have Googled it. That's all I'm saying. I'm just trying to equip you, because Dyer ain't always going to be around. Daugherty ain't always going to be around. I say nay, Tracy. It's a great way to sell courses and readings. It's a great way to sell courses and readings. Bernard. Thank you, Susan. See what Google can do? It's magic. Tells you information. Oh, boy. Interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Interesting and powerful stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Tracy agrees with me on the Akashis. The Akashi, the trashy Akashi. It's like the Akashians. Keeping up with the Akashians. Boom. There's a good one. We don't allow you to hawk your shit here. Bye. Like I said, the Cashew Records. I liked keeping up with the Akashians better. A butt to crack. Oh, that's nice. Can someone with your knowledge become a great magician? Why do I want to be a great magician? I guess no, I don't want to be a great magician, because a great magician, I'd like to become like a great stage magician, but a great magician is somebody that uses spells and incantations and knowledge that's from other people. You get initiated into somebody else's, into a collective knowledge. And that means there's fines, there's fees, there's taxes, and there's assessments. And I'm not paying nobody else for stuff I can do myself. Exactly, Tracy. Manifest my own stuff. And magic is really just the focusing of intention. So I'll focus all of my attention myself and not pay anybody else and not open myself up to energetic entanglements. That's me. That's me. Ooh, Jeff wants to free you, not to fool you. That's the exact truth. That's so good. It's funny. I wrote down almost something exactly like that on the board. And where is it? Where is it? Where did I write that? I just wrote it down. I don't know where it went. I must have wrote it on a piece of paper, because that's profound stuff. That's exactly what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to free you, not, what did you say? What did he say? Trying to free you, not, what did you say? I lost it. Anyway, we all are puzzle, wants to free you, not fool you. Yeah. We're all puzzle solvers. We're going to wrap this up. I just like reading these. That's right, Jeff. I'm going to buy a flying carpet. Karen, really? I hope you're joking. And what's going to make it fly? If you're buying it, you're going to have to pay a tax, a fee, a toll, and an assessment. If you really want to have a flying carpet, make it fly yourself. And do you really think there were flying carpets, or is that just an analogy to astral travel? And why do you want to do it? Lot of questions. Thank you, Truth Seeker. I appreciate it. And we are actually in, he said, actually free yourself. Don't parrot other people. I agree. Tee-hee, says Karen. That's what I thought. Well, folks, it's been really, really good. I think we're going to, that's why, because we can see you. We know the color of your skin. That's why we put you in timeout. No, you're being put on now 5-minute timeout because it's gross stupidity. Get the hell out of here. Get that cunt out of my face. Goes the color. How do we know the color of your damn skin? That's a victim looking for a place to happen. You may not like it here. I'm sorry, but anyway, guys, on we go. It's tough when people are so easy to fool. It's even tougher when it's harder to convince them they've been fooled. And it's tougher still when you just try to give information and let people figure it out on their own. But we are called for a time like this. We're the last generation of real humans. We're the last generation of real cousins. And we're called to a world where everybody says things are bad and getting better. Things are bad and getting worse to show that things are good and getting better. We're called to a world where everybody says we're heading towards the end to prove this is just the beginning, because we win, and win again. Folks, we're divine, we're sovereign, we're free. And we are here to win. For Tracy Dyer and all of our great moderators, for the lovely Cynthia, I'm Jeffey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, reminding you that you are divine, you are sovereign, you are free. You've got the right to life and life more abundant and peace that passes all understanding. All you got to do is unindoctrinate yourself and get busy. And I salute you for being here, seeking after truth.